Okay, before we get to other stuff, here's something interesting to me. That the two best things on television this year both involved OJ. Because I watched that 5-part ESPN documentary, OJ Made in America.
I watched it, too.
It's probably like 8.5, 9 hours total.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's something else.
It's ridiculously complete.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to be honest. I didn't just kind of skip over. I did skip over the first hour because it was all about his his early career, and I wasn't really interested in that. But all the rest of it was pretty good. It was pretty great. I'm just not interested in sports.
The fourth and fifth episode was really good, and I mean the fifth episode is valuable too because it tells you all the aftermath after the trial, leading up to his other arrest. And it was fascinating to see how people were interacting with him after his trial. Like there were still people that not for any kind of conscious. I doubt they were conscious of it. They just knew that he was a celebrity,
right?
International phenomenon, especially after the trial, and they were just thrilled to be in his presence, just based on that. Somehow they validated.
I thought that part was so interesting because it was about OJ finally, accepting his race as something that he was part of. And then he basically had to make his money off of autographs.
Yeah,
which, by the way, wouldn't the preponderance of autographs, devalue them in some way? And also, I saw this. I said, well, if he was so good at doing autographs, when he got the $33 million civil suit decision, why didn't he just sit down and do 1 million autographs? He could have done that.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. It goes back. I have not watched the documentary. I did watch every episode of the FX show. And if you remember, the last FX show is very interesting, the last episode, because you see that, while he has won the case, his life is finished. I mean, he couldn't get the reservation.
They did that very artfully.
Yeah, I thought that was actually very telling. Do they talk about, I remember seeing him interviewed in the late 90s or the early 2000s, and he had to go to a horror-themed convention to do autographs. Do they touch on that at all?
It probably shows images of him at that convention because it does show him.
I thought that was so weird because I remember him being interviewed. I've never done anything like this before. I mean, this is so weird. He said that. I mean, he's like, I've never had.
He should have come out with a knife and blood all over him and everything.
I mean,
it's
the
horror.
Robert England. He should have done Robert England or
Which essentially he did do that when he wrote that If I Did It book. Another very interesting thing was hearing the people that he essentially confessed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leaving no doubt that he did it. I mean, and his father being gay, and I mean, there's a lot of, and the pictures of the crime scene, which they show the most graphic pictures that have ever been shown. I mean, those pictures aren't even. One of those pictures is not even on the internet. Like it's so graphic.
Yeah.
It's really it's a deeper exploration than what People vs. O.J. Simpson gave you. But the People vs. O.J. Simpson was designed to do exactly what it did. So it didn't fail in any of what it set out to do. But this is just more in depth than that.
Yeah.
So we've gotten the premiere narrative version and the premiere documentary version. Do you think this is the last we're going to hear of OJ until he
probably in a while?
Until he basically dies in prison. I assume he's going to die in prison.
I mean, I'm wondering why this year. I mean, and I think these two things are this good because of hindsight.
Yes.
Because we're able to see a bigger picture. but they both come out around the same time because this premiered at Sundance in January.
Right.
When The People vs. O.J. Simpson was just premiering itself.
I don't think that they're going to give him parole because the whole 33-year sentence, which is pretty that's a big sentence for something like what he was
it was
what
payback.
he was convicted for. It was definitely payback, and if it's payback, then that means there's going to be further payback with not giving him parole. I don't think anybody's going to give him parole.
I could actually.
And then you had interviews with the jurors where the jurors admitted that that most of them voted based on payback for Rodney King.
Right.
They flat out admitted it, and they said, "Well, do you think that's right?" And they had no answer. I mean, that's just what they felt was best
said,
at the
I just did it, and that's the way it is, and and then of course those same people, most of them said that he was completely stupid for getting involved in anything else.
Right.
And
it is fascinating that because we're of the age we are, we think, who doesn't know about this? But a lot of people don't know.
There are a lot of people.
How big this story was.
Basically, if you're 25 or younger, you don't know it.
People know the Kardashian connection, is what I've noticed. Like, people at the young age, they know this whole. There's a story that broke this week. He might be the father of one of the Kardashians or something.
Yeah.
That broke this week, right?
Yeah, which makes them automatically dismissive of. Oh, so what's the big deal about OJ? That they don't understand. And I mean, we understood from a sensationalistic aspect back then, but I don't think even most of us understood the big picture and why this was such a seismic kind of event. And that's what these two documentaries, this series and documentary has brought us. So